Long before Julius Caesar, before Rome ruled the ancient world, there was one warrior whose name became the very definition of greatness. A man whose courage inspired kings, whose fury terrified entire armies, and whose legend has survived for more than 3,000 years. His name was Achilles. To some, he was the greatest warrior who ever lived. To others, he was a hero blessed by the gods themselves. His enemies believed he could not be defeated. His allies believed no battle could be won without him. His rage would decide the fate of the Trojan War. His duel with Hector would become one of the most famous battles ever told. And the story of his only weakness would give the world a phrase still spoken today: Achilles' heel. Whether he was a real man, a legendary hero, or something in between, his story has inspired generations of warriors, kings, poets, and historians. This is the story of Achilles. According to Greek legend, Achilles was born to King Peleus of Thea and the sea goddess Thetis. From the moment he was born, prophecy surrounded his life. It was said that he faced two possible futures. He could live a long and peaceful life, unknown to history, or he could die young on the battlefield, but earn glory that would last forever. His mother desperately tried to protect him from that fate. Legend says she carried the infant to the river Styx, whose magical waters granted invincibility. Holding him by one heel, she dipped him into the river. Every part of his body became untouchable, except the heel where she held him. Whether this story is fact or myth, it became one of the most enduring legends in history. As Achilles grew older, he was sent to the wise centaur Chiron, half man, half horse. Chiron trained many of Greece's greatest heroes. Under his guidance, Achilles mastered every weapon: the spear, the sword, the shield, the bow. He learned to ride, to hunt, to command, and above all, to fight without fear. Before long, stories of his extraordinary strength spread throughout Greece. Many believed no warrior alive could equal him. Then, a crisis shook the Greek world. Helen, the queen of Sparta, was taken to the city of Troy. Her husband, King Menelaus, called upon every Greek king to help bring her home. Thousands answered. More than 1,000 ships gathered on the shores of Greece. It would become one of the greatest military expeditions in legend. Among them marched Achilles, leading his elite warriors, the Myrmidons. They were feared throughout Greece for their discipline and unmatched skill in battle. When the Greek army reached Troy, they expected a quick victory. Instead, the war dragged on for years, season after season, summer after summer. Neither side could break the other. Yet whenever Achilles entered battle, the Trojans retreated. His spear struck with deadly precision. His shield never faltered. His name alone spread fear across the battlefield. But the greatest danger to the Greek army did not come from Troy. It came from within. A bitter dispute erupted between Achilles and Agamemnon, the commander of the Greek forces. When Agamemnon took away Achilles' war prize, the proud warrior felt deeply dishonored. Enraged, Achilles refused to fight. The Greeks suddenly found themselves without their greatest champion. The Trojans seized the opportunity. Led by their greatest warrior, Prince Hector, they drove the Greeks back toward their ships. The tide of the war had changed. Desperate to save his people, Achilles allowed his closest friend, Patroclus, to wear his armor and lead the Myrmidons into battle. At first, the plan worked. The Trojans believed Achilles had returned. They began to retreat. But Hector soon realized the truth. In one of the war's most tragic moments, he killed Patroclus. When news reached Achilles, his grief became uncontrollable. His sorrow turned into fury. He swore revenge, returning to the battlefield for the first time in many months. The greatest warrior of Greece was back. The armies watched as Achilles and Hector finally faced one another outside the walls of Troy. It was the duel everyone had been waiting for. Hector fought bravely, but Achilles was unstoppable. After a fierce battle, Hector fell beneath Achilles' spear. Blinded by anger, Achilles tied Hector's body behind his chariot and dragged it around the walls of Troy. Even the Greeks were shocked. Eventually, Hector's father, King Priam, secretly entered the Greek camp. The old king knelt before Achilles, begging for the return of his son's body. The sight of a grieving father reminded Achilles of his own family. His anger faded. He returned Hector's body with honor. It became one of the most powerful moments in Greek literature. Yet Achilles' own fate could not be escaped. The prophecy had never changed. During the final stages of the war, Paris, the Prince of Troy, fired an arrow. According to legend, the god Apollo guided its flight. The arrow struck Achilles in the only place where he could be wounded, his heel. The greatest warrior of Greece fell. His death shocked both armies. Even his enemies mourned him. Although Achilles did not live to see the fall of Troy, his legacy endured. Soon after his death, the Greeks used the famous Trojan horse to enter the city. Troy finally fell. The war was over. But Achilles became something greater than a warrior. He became a symbol of courage, honor, glory, and the price of choosing eternal fame over a long life. More than 3,000 years later, his story continues to inspire books, films, historians, and soldiers around the world. Whether he truly lived or existed only in legend, Achilles remains the greatest hero Greek mythology has ever known. His body may have fallen, but his name never will.